Hey, ladies and gents.
What's
this
up?
is the 3BPODCAST. And so we're going to start off with a little bit of introduction. We're going to tell a little bit about ourselves. First off, I will say this is a sports podcast. So we will be talking about sports. Maybe if this does well, we can start talking about other stuff too. We'll just see kind of how it goes. But right now we're starting off with sports. So we're going to kind of introduce ourselves. So my name is Braden Johnson. I'm from Tennessee. And as I said, this is a sports podcast. So my favorite teams we'll start off with my least favorite. College basketball, I like the Tennessee Vols because I'm from Tennessee. So I just root for them just because not a huge college basketball guy. I'll watch it sometimes, especially in March. But during the season, not really as much. But next, we'll have college football. I'm a Gators fan. Go Gators. My other co-host named Braden, he's a Vols fan, so we kind of go at it sometimes. But
Hate the Gators.
But anyways, so go Gators. When it comes to the NBA, I am a huge Boston Celtics fan. Hasn't been the start to the season that you would hope for, but it is what it is. Maybe we can turn it around. Let me finish my introduction, Braden. Gosh, I know you're itching at the bit to talk, but give me a second, brother.
I was just going to say it's weird that, your excuse for being a Vols fan is that you're from Tennessee, but you're also a Gators and a Celtics fan.
I was a Tebow guy, okay? Chill. Okay, and so finally, hopefully I don't get interrupted again, but finally, which is kind of my favorite sport to watch, the NFL, huge, diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. And you know what? I'm not the only one here that likes the Cowboys. We also have my co-host who's going to tell you a little bit about himself. His name's Ben, but he's a Cowboys fan as well. But yeah, so there's a little bit about me, my favorite sports teams. So next I'm going to pass it on over to Braden and let him kind of tell where he's from, his favorite teams.
It appears that I'm outnumbered. I'll start off with my favorite NFL team. I'm a Titans fan. I'm a everything Tennessee fan. I was born in Tennessee, so it just makes sense. I'm a Grizzlies fan. I'm a Vols fan. If you go outside of that, you're dead to me pretty much. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm a sports writer for the Herald-Citizen newspaper here in Cookeville. I'm a student at Tennessee Tech. I'm from Dixon, Tennessee, a little west of Nashville. I grew up there. I played 14 years of soccer. I ran cross country. I played a couple years of football. So I know a little bit about sports. So I don't know as much as I'd like to, but here we are on the pod. I'm from Dixon. That's pretty much it. Sports writer, student. Ben, I'll go to you.
I'm Ben. My favorite teams. I'm a huge Cowboys fan as well. I'm a Gators basketball and football fan for college. But I'm kind of similar with the basketball aspect. I like March Madness, the best part of it. But I follow soccer as well. I'm huge into it. I'm also from Tennessee, but no correlation with the sports teams. And I think that's about it.
All right, guys. Well,
disappointing.
If y'all are ready to go, let's just dive on into it.
Let's dive.
So we had a weekend to remember when it came to football. Probably the greatest weekend that I've ever seen when it came down to football. We had 3 game winners on field goal kicks. Just crazy. Now, I wanted to start off with, in my opinion, what was the worst game and the worst performance by a team. Maybe we could talk about the Packers, but the worst performance by a team and a quarterback this
You can't
weekend.
say team. You can't say team. You can say quarterback though.
Well, I'll give you your defense. Your defense played good, but let's talk about the Titans and the Bengals. Braden, we'll go to you first, since you're a Titans fan, and it really must suck to be a Titans fan, considering you had 9 sacks and still lost. What was your thoughts on the game this weekend?
Well, from the first play, obviously the interception from Tannehill. I was calling play action from the first play. If I, a kid who only played 2 years of football, know like what's going to happen on the first play, it's pretty disappointing. And the Cowboys defensive coordinator knew that it was going to happen. He set up, I think, a zone. And
You mean the Bengals?
Oh, what did I say?
You said the Cowboys.
Oh, I'm thinking about Cowboys.
We're talking about the Cowboys later.
You guys-
Please
you
don't
guys are
get me
get-
started yet. Don't get me started
You guys
yet.
are getting into my head. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Bengals coordinator probably set up a zone on the first play, knowing that maybe they were going to try to take a shot early. Tannehill throws it right to the defense. And apparently I heard that he totaled a Tesla on his way into the game. I'll look up more on that here in a second. But, yeah, it was just disappointing overall. 3 interceptions from Ryan Tannehill coming off of a really good game against the Texans. It's not what we expected at home against a good but a young team who doesn't have much experience in the playoffs. Our defense had an outstanding night. A defense that, I would take them. They could go to the Super Bowl on any other team with any other quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna interrupt and I'm gonna let Ben talk about it. But
For it.
Joey Burrow has ice in his veins, Brayden. That's the difference.
Joey
Ryan
Shiesty.
Tannehill is the difference. When you have a quarterback like Ryan Tannehill, it's hard to win. You have to win in spite of Ryan Tannehill. When you put the game in his hands, he's going to let you down.
I got to defend my boy. He had an off day. He had
He had
and
plenty
he's
of
not
off
consistent.
games this week, or not this week, this year. He had plenty of off games. Ryan
Inconsistent.
Tannehill is the guy that you don't want to hand the reins over to, but you're kind of stuck with because quarterbacks, middle of the pack quarterbacks, which is what Ryan Tannehill is, you're kind of stuck in a predicament where you either pay them or you take a chance and draft a quarterback. You never know if that's going to work out, or you go for a bigger name and you don't know if that's going to work out either. So you kind of just stick with the guy you got. But Ben, what do you think about the Cincy and Titans game? What was your biggest takeaways?
Yeah, I was also very disappointed with Tannehill's play. I expected him to go in there because he has all the pieces he needs, in my opinion, to be a Super Bowl team. I mean, the Titans were first seed for a reason. They're good. But Henry also came back, which is crazy. He's a monster. Granted, he didn't exactly have the best performance, but, I mean, he just got back, and what can you expect? He still played his heart out. But I agree with both of you to an extent on Tannehill, though. I do think that Tannehill is the type of quarterback you need to get the ball out of his hands. But I also think he is good enough or decent enough to where all he has to do is, some play action with Henry back there, short passes, take a deep shot here and there. He's decent enough for that, but just try to keep it out of his hands, and then I think you'll be fine.
Did you notice what went up when Derrick Henry was gone and the run game was not nearly as solid? Ryan Tannehill's interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and of course, if you're throwing the ball more, you're going to have more interceptions. Makes sense. But Tannehill had to do more. And when Tannehill has to do more, it doesn't usually go well for the team.
I agree.
And you know what? I will say this. The fact that Ryan Tannehill is still on his feet, is still healthy, and has remained healthy for the Titans throughout his career while he's been there, that's the biggest shock to me. Now, I think he's outplayed what people thought after his first couple of years in the league. He's definitely played better because everybody
100%.
thought he was a complete bust. He's changed the narrative, flipped the script. We're having conversations about Tannehill that we never thought we were going to have early in his career. The fact that, let's just be honest, there were people that were listing him as a top 10 quarterback. And that's kind of where I want to go. Is Ryan Tannehill a top 10 quarterback? Is he a quarterback that can lead your team to a Super Bowl? Not just be there, but lead.
Not all top 10 quarterbacks lead their team to a Super Bowl. I'd say your top 5 have the potential to. But I'd say if you're going top,
then
top
let
10,
me change the question.
Yeah.
Is Ryan Tannehill the guy to have the ball left with 2 minutes or less, down 3, down 7, and go win you a ball game? Is Ryan Tannehill that guy?
We saw it. He's not. We saw it. If he doesn't do it, then he's not the guy. Like, he didn't do it now, but that's not to say that he can't do it in the future.
You've paid him over $100 million.
Right,
Are you
we've
stuck
got him-
with him?
We've got him till 2023.
Is that what you're doing? You're keeping him?
I mean, if I'm coach, that's what I do. And you said something earlier, like that the Titans had to, force a lot more passes because they didn't have Henry in the run game. You can't forget about that man, Deontay Foreman. That man, he had more rushing yards than Henry in this game.
On less attempts.
With 4 carries.
Yep.
And Derrick Henry had 20 carries. And I think if I'm coach and I see that Henry's not performing and he's not up to, game speed, I'm putting Deontay back in because he's the guy who's game ready, who's been doing it. Save Henry's leg. I know everybody was hyping Henry up so much, but he had just come off an injury and he only had a few weeks of practice. And Deontay Foreman was getting the job done, and he got the job done in 4 carries. I just wish we could have seen more of him against the Bengals, and we didn't quite get to do that. The Titans didn't quite change up their scheme. Vrabel said they weren't going to when Henry went out. They just put in guys who could fill the role, and they did that well this season. That's why they got the 1 seed.
Yeah. Ben, any comments or thoughts? Do you think Tannehill's a guy that you stick with if you're the Titans, first off, and keep paying that money? And second off, do you think he's the guy to go out there and win you a game in the fourth quarter, in the last 2 minutes? Is he that type of guy? Can he be that type of guy?
Yeah, it's very controversial. In my opinion, I would give Tannehill 1 to 2 more years, maybe 3 if they continue to be consistent and they go to the playoffs. But other than that, he's got to win something for me after 1 to 3 more years.
Yeah, but the window on NFL teams having a chance to go somewhere closes so quickly.
It does
for a lot of teams.
But Henry will be there the next 3, and the defense it's shaping up fairly well.
Well,
so.
Henry got hurt this year. Who's to say he's not going to get hurt next year? I mean, the livelihood of a running back, they decline
Once they hit
the more years they're doing it. I mean, when you're carrying the ball especially as much as Henry is, Henry carries the ball an absurd amount of times usually per game. I mean, first game back he carried the ball 20 times. So I mean, there's just things to think about. I don't think Tannehill's the guy. If I'm the Titans, I'm shooting for Aaron Rodgers and I'm finding a way to trade Ryan Tannehill. That's what I'm doing. But speaking of that, not so bad man now. Unless y'all have anything else you want to add about the Titans and the Bengals, we could go ahead and talk about the 49ers versus the Packers. And I forgot to say on the first game, we talked about it, but we never really told the score. The score ended up being 19-16 for the Titans and the Bengals. And when we look at the 49ers versus the Packers, the score was 13-10. And yeah, we mentioned that bad man. Well, it wasn't the bad man that won. He wasn't the quarterback that won today. He's the quarterback that put up 10 points. Didn't really do anything spectacular. Didn't really do anything, I guess, bad per se. But Jimmy G was the winning quarterback. Jimmy G's the one advancing. Jimmy G
had 2 interceptions.
He's in the top 4. And
1 interception.
And yes, he had 1 interception. But, I mean, that, in my opinion, the way the 49ers run their offense, the way they run things, is the perfect script for the Titans because Jimmy G is a quarterback like Ryan Tannehill, in my opinion. I think they're pretty much, in essence, very similar. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers, 20 of 29 to 225 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. And Jimmy G, 11 of 19, 131, 1 interception. Didn't play great, but they don't have to ask him to play great. Aaron Rodgers is a top 5 quarterback, debatable, but most people would say top 5 quarterback of all time. He didn't show up to his standards, in my opinion. I don't know, guys. What do y'all think? What was your biggest takeaway from the Packers and the 49ers game?
I think bad weather always helps the team that's worse. That goes for soccer. That goes for football. I've seen it in playoff games in high school where it'll be raining cats and dogs, and the worst team will just find a way to get an edge up on their opponent. And the way it was snowing out there in Green Bay, they're used to it, but I just believe the myth. It may be a myth, it may not be, that bad weather helps the worst team. And the Packers were the better team coming into this, but the 49ers stepped up and got the job done. That man Deebo Samuel, by the way, is a monster, and he's there. He and Kittle are their main 2 weapons, and I wouldn't say they're the same as the Titans because they don't run the same offense, but I get what you're saying, that like they don't have a top 5 quarterback, but they're running it well, and they use their weapons well, which is something that I wish that we would do more of, using more of Julio Jones and AJ, rather than just using them as like decoys. We get more targets to them, and some people will give me flack for that because it's like we're doing what we can, but I think the Titans need to clean that up. But anyway,
Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I was very shocked about it overall because neither quarterback, in my opinion, did too much in this game. Obviously, Rodgers, I think he did a little better than Garoppolo, but Garoppolo won. He always finds a way to win somehow. But I'm giving most of the credit to that 49ers defense. Bosa and all of them, man, they are monsters. I watched them against our Cowboys, watched them a little bit against the Packers. That D-line is crazy good. But I also agree in the sense that Jimmy G and Tannehill are similar in that aspect. Like Braden was just talking about, use your weapons, and Jimmy uses the weapons, even though I don't think he'll ever be great.
Yeah, one thing I will add, Kyle Shanahan does a very, very good job. Yes, the defense played great, but when your offense can be your defense to a certain extent, calling run plays, getting Deebo Samuel involved, very dynamic player. Not even just the passing game, but the running game. We've seen that this year, how Deebo's been involved with the running game a lot more. Kyle Shanahan's really good at what he does. Very good. And, yeah, when I say Jimmy G and Ryan Tannehill are similar, they play off the play action. They play off the run. They're not a quarterback where you're going to rely on them to pass the ball, or you want to rely on them to pass the ball for 30, 40 attempts. I mean, the perfect stat line if you're a San Francisco 49er fan is 11 of 19. Jimmy G's thrown it under 20 times. That means you're running and your defense is playing good. I mean, that's the perfect stat line. But one question I will ask both of y'all, I'll start with you, Ben. What if Jimmy G, let's hypothetically say Jimmy G gets them to the Super Bowl, or he doesn't even get them to the Super Bowl. He just gets them into this next game, plays really well. Say he has a good game, balls out. They need him to do more. They need him to score, so he scores. If you're the 49ers, what are you doing at the quarterback position? Because you got that young stud, Lance. Are you moving on from Garoppolo, which I said he's a young stud, but, I mean, not very experienced. And, again, first year this year. What are you doing with Jimmy G?
I think after this season, believe it or not, I would ride out one more with him to see how it goes next year. Because, I mean, he has the pieces around him, like we're saying, we don't realize, but, like, their offense only had 212 total yards. It's not like that's not nothing. 212 yards. Ooh. But, I mean, they won. That's all that matters, the box score at the end of the day. So, I mean, he finds a way to win, as y'all have both seen. Kyle Shanahan's record with him at quarterback and others at quarterback is way different. Garoppolo has a crazy good winning record. So I think I'd just kind of ride it out, see what he does next year. But then if he starts underperforming or missing throws or just not being as efficient as he currently is, then that's when I put the question up saying, all right, is this the guy we want?
Yeah, before you speak, Braden, I want to add one thing. You said his record when starting and playing is pretty good. I mean, you look at what the 49ers were with and without him. His first year, I believe he went 6-0, 5-0, and I mean, I think that was like majority, basically all the games that they won was when he started. And Jimmy G's record as a starting quarterback for the 49ers is 31-14, which is not bad. I mean, you're almost at a 70% win percentage. And it's not a small sample size. It's a fairly big sample size now. But, yeah, Braden, what do you think?
I think any quarterback that's getting wins in the playoffs like Garoppolo is going to stay for another year, regardless, especially if they win this next game. But even if they don't, I think they keep him because you look at Tannehill, the Titans are going to keep Tannehill most likely. you know, even the Packers are probably they would try to hang on to Rodgers, but ultimately it's his decision. But you look at the quarterbacks who are winning playoff games and have the ability to win playoff games. Joe Burrow, like if you look at some of these quarterbacks, these teams are holding on to him. And Jimmy G's winning playoff games. He finds a way to win, and I think they're going to stick with him. They're going to do what they can to hold on to him. I think he is their guy. I know they've got a young man, Trey Lance, who's coming up, but I think they definitely ride out with Jimmy G and see what plays out for him in this next year. See if they can't pick up anybody else in the draft to maybe help out where they're lacking. But like we said, this defense and this offense are high powered. We look at Eric Armstead getting 2 sacks in that game. You look at Bosa getting 2 sacks in that game. That defensive front is dangerous. Maybe clean up the secondary a little bit in the draft. But ultimately, I think we hold on to Jimmy G and see what happens in this next year.
See, my thoughts on that is when your offense musters up 13 points, I think Trey Lance can muster up 13 points. I don't care if it's a playoff game or not. I think he can.
You see him in preseason?
Nah, come on now. We can't judge everybody based on preseason now.
Well,
but I mean, we got a few games with him at quarterback during the year. But I will say this. I mean, 13 points. I feel like he probably could muster up that. I feel like most quarterbacks probably could if they have a decent supporting cast, especially as dynamic as he is. He can run the ball as well. But when you're paying Jimmy G as much as you're paying Jimmy G and he's doing as little as he's doing, I don't think you need to hold on to Jimmy G. I don't think you need that. When you've got a quarterback that you feel like you probably will be handing the reins over to soon, go ahead and hand it to him now. Like, not now, like as in playoff time now, but next season, hand it to him. Because I feel like he can do what Jimmy G's doing, if not do it better, if you give him some starts under his belt. That's my opinion, especially when you're paying Jimmy G as much as he's getting paid. I'm not 100% sure what his contract is, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So that's my opinion on the topic. My next question for both of y'all, and I want to hear what y'all have to say, and then I'll kind of throw my 2 cents in. What's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? Is Aaron Rodgers going to stay with Green Bay? Is he going to retire? Is he going to go play for another team? What are y'all's guys' thoughts on Aaron Rodgers?
well, I would personally love him at Tennessee, but I've heard rumors that he's going to end up in our conference with the Colts.
I didn't even think about that.
Carson Wentz, he's a Band-Aid, I think, as the coach and some of the players have expressed. He's just a Band-Aid to fill in the role, and they don't really want him there. But I don't know if Rodgers would like to go there just because of they have some weapons, but they don't have a Devontae Adams. They don't have a guy who can be his number one. I don't think there's a main number one there. I think they spread it pretty well. But if you're with the Titans, I say you have plenty of weapons. You've got Derrick Henry, you've got Julio Jones, and you've got A.J. Brown. You've got the big three. I would love him at the Titans, obviously. I'm sure you guys would love him at the Cowboys because Dak's pretty trash. Sorry.
Hey. We're not talking about the Cowboys yet. We're saving that for last,
bad,
okay?
My bad, all right.
Yeah. Obviously, if Green Bay's smart, I'd keep him. But
I don't think they're going to have a choice. I don't think they're going to be able to.
I don't think so either.
Think he wants to stay.
Like I was saying the other day, I personally think if I was Aaron Rodgers, I would consider Pittsburgh. Their defense is great. They have 3 or 4 good receivers. Najee Harris looks good in the backfield. You got T.J. Watt on the other side. Some great other linemen and corners, Fitzpatrick and whatnot. But if they just get some O-line, a little bit of help to protect him, I could see that. But, I mean, looking at all the teams, man, if I was Rodgers, I'd dissect so many teams because so many teams are probably going to try to get him if they can.
Yeah. So. Me and you talked about this a couple of days ago, Ben, but I threw out the name or the team, and this kind of hurts me to say because I really don't want him to do it. But
Same.
The Redskins. I mean, let's
Washington football
let's okay, Washington football team. My fault.
Gotta be PC.
Whatever. We don't have to get into that. But so the Washington football team, they got a good defense. They got a young defense. They got studs. They got athletes. They have good running backs. They have good receivers to throw the ball to. As a Cowboys fan, I'd hate it. But if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm thinking that's a good idea. I mean, think about who you're playing throughout the season. Right now, you're playing the Giants and the Giants and the Eagles, and then the Cowboys. I mean, who knows what you're gonna get out of the Cowboys? You could very easily get a 9-8 or 8-9 or a whatever. I mean, 7-10, or you could get a 12-5 like this year. I mean, you never know. But if I'm him, I mean, they've been calling it the NFC least. I mean, why not go there? Why not stay healthy? Why not ball out? I mean, because you could put, especially on the Giants. I get 2 free games a year against the Giants. But that's where I'd go if I'm Rodgers, or I'd like to go, and I'm sure Washington would love to have him. But yeah, you don't think he's gonna go to Jeopardy? No.
Later on.
I don't know, man. I think he's ready to get the hippie lifestyle, and I think he's ready to just focus on Jeopardy.
Jeopardy should sign him. Big contract.
Well, shoot, he already did it for a little bit.
Yeah.
He already did it for a little bit.
He did. He did a great job.
Yeah.
He did a great job there. Better than he did. Yeah. I'm just kidding. In that playoff game.
Jeopardy puts me to sleep. If that's what Aaron Rodgers wants to do, he wants to go from being a stud quarterback to Jeopardy, then by all means, you do you, man. But not my choice. Okay, guys. So anything else y'all would like to add about 49ers and Packers?
No, man. I think that's a good I would say that maybe he doesn't go to the Steelers, Rodgers, just primarily for that offensive line, because like they could get some help, but they're 26th in the league right now.
Yeah.
And like Najee is a great back, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have the holes that he needs, and that doesn't really free up the passing game too much. I think the Steelers need to go for – they definitely need somebody, but they really need to clean up that line before I think Rodgers goes there.
For sure. I agree.
But, yeah, that was the last bit I had on that. That was just hanging in my head. So.
Anything, Ben?
No, I think it's pretty good.
Okay. Okay, so now to the more exciting games. Those 2 games are those 2 games are just okay. But so now we have the Bucs and the Rams to talk about. This was a blowout early, and then became a game. Tom Brady started doing Tom Brady things. First half, though, it was ugly. Matthew Stafford, I mean, the dude balled out. Cooper Kupp did Cooper Kupp stuff. I mean, 9 receptions, 183 yards, touchdown. Big catch late to put him in the field goal range to win the game. Stafford, 28 of 38, 366, 2 touchdowns. QBR, his rating, 121. Dude played great. Dude played phenomenal. So it's kind of hard to hate on his postseason success with the team so far. But let's talk about Brady. We can talk about the game as well. Y'all can add whatever comments you want to add about the game as well. But did y'all hear some of Brady's comments at the end of the game? Is Brady retiring?
I don't know. Is he thinking about it?
Yeah.
What were the comments?
Well, I won't hold it against you that you didn't educate yourself before the podcast.
Okay.
But Brady essentially said it's rough on Giselle to sit there and watch him get hit. She's been watching that for 20-plus years. His family's worried for him. He wants to be there for his family. He wants to take their thoughts and their concerns into consideration as well. In my opinion, if Brady had his choice, Brady doesn't have a wife and kids to worry about. Brady's playing for another 5 years, especially off of the statistics that he put up this year. I mean, he had some of the best statistics. I'm pretty sure the best statistics he's put up, especially in the last few years. But, yeah, he played very good this year. I think the fact that Godwin and Brown, the fact that all that went down and he lost them, I feel like he would be thinking to himself, if I had the plethora of weapons that I normally had at the start of the season, things would have been different.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my thought, is that he's sitting there thinking, I could have won a Super Bowl again. You know, I can win a Super Bowl again if I have my healthy go-to guys. But, is this Brady's final game, Ben?
I want to say yes, but knowing how good Brady is and knowing it's just Brady, I could see him doing another year or two. But if he does hang it up, I wouldn't be surprised, because his family, that has been a huge topic for him recently. His wife and kids just miss him, which, I mean, I don't blame him. He's been in the league for 20-plus years. I mean, he's been outstanding.
44, Ben. 44.
No other
This is
quarterback has seen it.
unprecedented. Unprecedented.
And he's about to be 45. So
The dude doesn't take hits. He doesn't take any hits.
he's very smart. But yeah, I could see 1 to 2 more. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he just hung it up. And because, I mean, like you said, he was on top. Why not hang it up on top? You know, with the most passing yards and up there with touchdowns. And, I mean, you can't deny what he's done in his career, and everyone knows it. So I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Hypothetically speaking, let's just blow your minds for a little bit.
Go for it. Shoot.
The Patriots win the Super Bowl next year.
Hold on.
Belichick.
Hold on. Why?
Hold up. Patriots win the Super Bowl next year. Belichick, he's now tied Super Bowl rings with Brady. Say he retires. Does he come back after a year off because he doesn't want Belichick to be ahead of him?
No.
You don't think so?
Full of Gronk?
No.
You don't think so? Is the competitive fire that Brady has?
I don't know. What happens if Brady retires? Is Gronk going with him?
Oh.
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
I do too.
Yeah, probably.
I think so.
But, yeah, man, I mean, the fact that you're 44, still balling out, which one thing that does kind of make me think that he may stay, he did say that he wanted to play till he's 45 for sure. He's 44. Next year he'll be 45. But I don't think we've ever heard Brady make comments kind of doubting his future like he did after this past game. He made comments to make you think that he might retire. He hasn't done that in the past. So I don't know. I mean, if I'm him, I've won 8 Super Bowls. I have a smoking hot wife. I have kids. I mean, I probably would have hung it up 4 years ago. I mean, I'm out here winning more Super Bowls than 3/4 of the league have won.
When you can play at that level and play at that level like he can, I don't think you hang it up. I think he still goes, because they had every right to win that game, every right to keep going, and they couldn't do it. But
I wouldn't even say every right. They were lucky that they had
right
Brady
to
come back, because they played terrible first half. I mean, it's just miserable. I mean, you score 3 more points. I mean, we could have a completely different conversation.
27-3, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying like in the first half, it was 24. I think it might have been.
It was 27-3. Not at halftime. It was 23, but it was 27-3 in the third.
But yeah, I mean, almost a Falcons do-over again.
Brady's no stranger to those kind of comebacks.
But I don't know. I mean, either way, great decision.
Yeah,
for him. Like, I mean, this is a great predicament to be in.
If he retires, is that a potential landing spot for Aaron Rodgers with the line that they have? They have the number 2 line in the NFL. Is that a potential landing spot?
I didn't even think about that. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I think so too. I didn't.
Yeah. I think it could be.
Good thought. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, do y'all have anything else to add on this game? This is this, as well as the 49ers and Packers and the Titans and the Bengals. This game was decided on a last-second field goal.
Do we think Do we
Go
think
ahead.
Rams can make it? I think Rams make it and win it. That's me.
I think they can too.
Yeah.
I like Stafford. I think Stafford can do it. He's finally set free. He's finally out of Detroit.
Yeah, I don't think when you have as many, especially with them having Odell Beckham Jr. now, when you have as many weapons as the Rams have, I mean, you have the best receiver in the game right now. I'm sorry, Devontae Adams, you're amazing, but Cooper Kupp, you're just he's just a stud.
Yes, sir.
I mean, he's just a stud. I mean, there's nothing you can say less about the man. He is just a stud.
He knows football. Football.
Love me some Devontae Adams, but Cooper Kupp been killing it this year. Don't think he's gotten the praise that he deserves from a lot of people. But yeah. So, anything else y'all want to add about the Bucs and Rams game?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Okay, let's talk about the best game I've ever seen in my entire life. It's on the edge of my seat. The Chiefs versus the Bills. Now, I want to talk last. I'm going to let y'all two go. I'll start it off with you, Braden. What did you think? What were some of your takeaways from the Chiefs versus the Bills? And eventually, I'd like to get your take on overtime, the rules, and what you would do. Would you change it? Would you keep it the same? What would you do?
Biggest play of that game was the coin toss. Biggest play of the game was the coin toss. Chiefs get the ball. Man, you know what's going to happen. You know they're going to score with the type of offense that they have on the field. You know they're going to score. You know Mahomes is going to march down there and win it, and he did. You know, I feel for the Bills because they had an awesome night, man. Their defense, their offense. Josh Allen did everything in his power that he could just to see it fall away. And I credit their defense, but they did. They couldn't stop Mahomes, and I don't think a lot of teams in this half of the season and then into the playoffs can do that. We'll see what happens as this team goes on in the next game. But dude, I don't know. Mahomes is a weapon, and he's crazy with what he does. 13 seconds ties the game. He gets it up there in 13 seconds for overtime, and man, it was a wild finish. I'm really proud of this young Chiefs team, and I want to see him do well. I also want to see him get beat by the Bengals though, just because that would be an awesome story. And
Man, you sound like a dad. You're proud as a Titans fan. You're proud of the Chiefs.
Hey,
you sound like a dad. Like, do you have a son playing that we don't know about? Like, what's going on
as
here?
a Titans fan, I don't like the Chiefs. As a person who appreciates the game, I like the Chiefs. As a person who covers football and tries to, I mean, as a journalist, like I can learn to appreciate teams I don't like. I can even learn to appreciate the Cowboys here and there. But anyway, what about you, Ben?
I thought the game was outstanding. 13 seconds. I think that proves you just can't give Mahomes time.
Zero seconds is when you're safe.
If he has the ball, you're in trouble. Just hope for the best, D up, whatever you can. But I thought both offenses were outstanding. Both of them put up over 400 yards, which is, I mean, that's what people like to see. Mahomes, Allen, both had great numbers, slinging the football left and right. But I have to give some props to Gabriel Davis, who came out with 8 catches and over 200 yards and 4 tutties.
Went crazy.
That was unreal because out of all the receivers, I mean, granted, he's not a bad one at all, but, you know, you would look at Diggs or Beasley or something like that maybe before him. And, I mean, he went out there and Josh Allen said, he's out there somewhere, and it worked every time. But I was a little disappointed in the Bills' number 1 defense in a lot of categories. But at the same time, he's playing Mahomes, so not really too surprised.
Yeah. Okay, so this game was crazy. Cray, guys. Okay.
Go for it.
Josh Allen, 27 for 37, 329 yards, 4 touchdown passes, 136 quarterback rating. Patty Mahomes, 33 for 44, 378, 3 touchdowns, 123 QB rating. I'm talking about the passing, guys. The rushing. Mm-hmm. Patty Mahomes, 7 attempts, 69 yards, a touchdown. Josh Allen, 11 attempts, 68 yards. These quarterbacks single-handedly carried their team.
Mm-hmm.
That is the difference between the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the difference between the Bills and the Titans. I mean, that's just the difference. And like y'all said, you got to feel for Josh Allen. I think we're watching the new Tom Brady, Peyton Manning era. We're in it now. We're looking at the future of the NFL right before our eyes. I'm just glad I'm able to witness it. You know, these two guys are studs. I mean, we're talking about these two guys. We still got Justin Herbert. We still got Joey Burrow. You know, we still got Joe Burrow. You know,
Lamar Jackson.
If he can just get a.
You got to stay healthy.
If he can just throw the ball, you know, if he can just learn how to throw the ball, then maybe he'll be okay.
Don't talk about his arm, bro. His arm's pretty good.
But,
not a
I just, like you said, Ben, 13 seconds. I don't, when you scored, I believe they scored, they had, sorry, we're getting some noise in the background. They scored, so the Bills scored.
Yes, they did.
Go up, think they're good, under 2 minutes left. Kansas City scores, leaves a minute left. Bills go down, kick a field goal. Believe it was field goal. Either way, scored again. They leave Patty Mahomes, 13 seconds. The dude comes down, gets him in field goal range. They have a 48-yarder.
Knock it down.
Tie the game.
Butker's that guy. Butker is that guy. He's got ice in his veins like Evan McPherson.
Did y'all see did you see Travis Kelce talking about the plays?
I did not. Go ahead.
So Travis Kelce and Patty Mahomes, they were both talking about this. They didn't run a design play. Travis Kelce just said, hey, they're leaving the middle of the field open. I'm going to run down the middle of the field. Actually, the first play at the beginning of the drive, the one that Tyreek Hill caught, he told Tyreek Hill, he said, hey, just stand behind me, get about 15 yards, you know, catch the ball. I'll block for you. Just run right here. We'll get some yardage real quick. So that's what he did. And then Travis Kelce told him when they were in the huddle, he told Patty Mahomes, he said, hey, man, they're leaving the middle of the field open. Said, I'm probably not going to run my route. I'm just going to do what I want to do. I said, that's what I should do. And Patty Mahomes at the line of scrimmage said, hey, Trav, do it, man. Do it. Guess what? They did it.
Wow.
They did it.
Yeah.
And not only did they do it, if you're Josh Allen, you got to hate yourself. The worst play that you had was the coin flip. And that's not a play, but the worst decision that you made all night was choosing between heads and tails.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, great game, played stellar. But, man, you lose because of a coin flip, because we all know the Bills were going to score a touchdown if they got the ball. We all knew Kansas City was going to score a touchdown if they got the ball. You know, it just all depended on who got the ball last. And I think that's what everybody was saying before the game. Who's going to get the ball last? Who's going to win because they have the ball last? And the Chiefs had the ball last.
Yep.
Which brings me to my next question. What should they do about overtime? Should any adjustments be made? What ideas would y'all have? Shoot it to me, Ben. What do you think?
I personally don't really mind the OT rules because the defense is on the field. So, I mean, you have a chance. Anything can happen. You can get scored on every possession, but, you know, the one time you D up in OT, you could get pick six and you win. But I wouldn't mind seeing a change in the aspect of where if you do score a touchdown, though, the other team has to score a touchdown back. But other than that, I like it. But it was just crazy that Allen lost that coin toss because he was 9-0, and then he lost both coin tosses in that game. So
it's with those quarterbacks, the coin flip is going to matter so much, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's all the chance at that point. So yeah, I want to agree that you give the offense a chance, but also it's like if they get down there and you hold them to a field goal, you have a chance to go down there and win the game. I like how it is now, but I would really like to see the offenses get another chance if they get a touchdown scored on them to go down. But then you have games that potentially go for 2-3 hours into multiple overtimes because
is that a problem?
I see for some people for some people it is. There's some reasons that can mess that up. I mean, if you're watching a 7 overtime game where it's like, because it's Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, like they're going to continue to march down the field and scoring touchdowns. So it's like, it's you just wait. You just wait until somebody doesn't get it.
Braden, no, buddies. Okay, listen. Okay, that game deserved a better finish.
I think it got a great finish.
It had a great finish, but it deserved an even better. No, Josh Allen and the Bills, they deserved a chance to be able to march the ball.
Was a chance.
Braden, I'll let you talk, buddy. My turn. Okay, listen. Here's what you got to do, in my opinion.
All right.
I think, like college football, they do the 25-yard line of overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Throw each NFL team. They get the ball. Each one gets a chance to score. Throw them at the 50-yard line. Let them start the 50-yard line. Kick a field goal. Don't score. Score a touchdown. Other team has to match. By the second overtime, you keep it at the 50-yard line. They do the same thing, but they have to go for 2. I like the college football rules that they had before the new ones that they came out with, where they just started going for 2-point conversions after the second overtime. That was it, just 2-point conversions. I think you should have the drive and then have to go for 2. What makes people want to watch football? Excitement, the scoring, the adrenaline rush you get from watching the game, watching these people put up high numbers. All of the people that were watching that game, they had no problem continuing to watch that game. If Josh Allen had had a chance, everybody would have loved it, in my opinion. I mean, we had that same conversation, I believe, 2018 or 19 with the game. They talked about changing the overtime rules. I just think it was a shame that a coin flip decided a game. That's just where I have the issue with it. And I think it would be more enjoyable because I don't know about y'all, but when I'm watching an NFL game, I don't get excited for overtime. When I'm watching a college football game, man, the game's going into OT. Let's go, baby. This is going to be exciting. Who's going to win?
Go on for hours.
There's so
I don't
much,
need sleep tonight.
There's so much fun, and like it's just a great time watching it once it goes into overtime in college. But when it comes to NFL, it's just not that for me. Now, y'all may disagree. It's just not that for me, and I want that to change.
Fair enough. You want to go on to our scoring predictions for this next round?
Yeah, anything else you want to add, Ben?
Yeah, no, not really. I like it. So
all right.
That's just my opinion.
Stay true.
I'm okay with
man.
it. I'm okay with it.
I'm not okay with it.
And that's okay to not be okay. We need to talk about that more.
Next week, this may be a debate show, guys. If it keeps going down like this, we may end up just turning into a debate show.
All
right. Let's preview next weekend's games. So, first game, we have the Rams versus the 49ers. Ben, I'm going to hand it off to you. I want to hear what you think. What are your thoughts for the game? What's the final score going to be? Just give me your whole spiel about the game.
All right, Rams 49ers. I'm going 30-17 Rams. I think it's time. The 49ers have had 2 great upset wins. Hats off to them. But I think it's time that Stafford and Kupp on this connection wavelength with a great D-line. I think they ride it out, and I think they beat the 49ers this week. But
I agree. I'm gonna say 20-7 Rams. I think this is gonna be a game where the Rams force a lot of turnovers on Jimmy G. That offensive line, they're gonna stop their run game, and then they're gonna break through to Jimmy G, and he's not the best under pressure. I think he throws 2 interceptions for under 200 yards, and I think the Rams take it. Let's go 21-7. 21-7.
Oh me. Well, guys, I was gonna come in here and tell you Rams 31-23, but flipping.
Why so?
I've been thinking, guys.
All right. Mm-hmm.
I thought, for whatever reason, that my Rudy Poot Cowboys would win a playoff game. I thought for some reason my Rudy Poot Cowboys would win a playoff game. But I was wrong. I thought that the Packers would beat 49ers handily. I was wrong.
Yeah, you were.
Aaron Rodgers, much better quarterback in my opinion than Matthew Stafford. I think the 49ers are going to win this game, guys.
Okay.
I'll be by myself here.
Okay.
I'm adjusting on the fly here. I came in with a score of 31-23 Rams, but I'm kind of leaning towards the 21-20 49ers.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm looking at the way that the 49ers are playing defense, and I'm looking at the way that Jimmy G is not having to do much. I'm looking at the way Deebo Samuel's been able to run the ball. Looking at the way the 49ers have been able to keep Jimmy G from having to do too much. I don't see a reason why they can't keep doing that. The Rams have been inconsistent, have been shoddy at times. I think this is a moment that's going to be a little too big for Matthew Stafford the more I thought about it because he's never been here. I think we've looked at Odell Beckham in big games. A lot of times he hadn't shown up. Now, granted, he has so far in the playoffs, but I don't see the Rams winning the more I thought about this. I'm going to go 21-20 49ers.
Fair enough.
Go ahead.
The Rams. I'm looking at this now, and you see San Francisco beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, can we just not mention it? Let's just
then,
talk about other
all right,
things.
Then you see him beat the Packers. But you also look back and you see the Rams destroying the Cardinals, and then destroying the Buccaneers early, but then they let them back. But I don't see how they've both had a tough road coming in, so it's going to be a close game, I think. But it just comes down to the pressure from the LA defense that's going to probably cause some turnovers for me. But yeah, no, I do like your take. Seeing what they've come through, maybe they continue to keep that roll going. I just don't think the roll's gonna keep going this next weekend.
Yeah, because it's not like I'm having it as a shootout. 21-20. I'm thinking that Matthew Stafford is gonna have a hard time.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. So, what do you think about my take, Ben? I'm the only one over here picking the 49ers. So.
Yeah, I mean I could see it, but I'm riding that Stafford Cup connection right now. I'm gonna ride it out until they prove me wrong.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, I mean, people were saying at the beginning that the Rams were the team to beat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, NFC. And I mean, people were saying in the beginning that the Chiefs were the team to beat. And you know what?
A
lot of people started slacking and thinking that wasn't the case. And the Chiefs decided they were going to wake the freaking frick up and start winning and start producing and start playing like they know how to play.
Mm-hmm.
So, on to our next game, Chiefs versus the Bengals. I'm going to go ahead and spill my score. I've got 34-21 Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will win easily. I don't think it'll be hard. Joey Burrow, big game guy, but I think he's going to come up short. I think that O-line for the Bengals is just iffy, clearly. I mean, Titans had 9 sacks. I'm not saying that the Bengals will be able to, or the Chiefs will be able to get 9 sacks on them, but I mean, I could very easily see them getting into 4 or 5 range. I mean, you can't come out and score 19 against the Chiefs because that's not going to go well for you. So, 34-21 Chiefs is my prediction. Patty Mahomes is going to do Patty Mahomes things, go crazy. Joey Burrow is going to be reminded who the boss is in the AFC. Who the boss is.
Give me the underdogs. Give me the Bengals, baby. I'm going for Joe Shiesty and Jamar Chase. I'm going for that connection. I hated them when they beat us, but dude, it's like they've come through a lot. They're not going to be picked by a lot of people. And Kansas City is on fire. They're amazing, but like I think just for me, the story is too good. The story is too good to see Joe Shiesty, Joe Burrow lose this game. I would love to see it. and I think we're going to see it. I go 17-14 Bengals.
Okay, did you watch the last time they played?
I
I'm
did.
gonna let Ben talk in just a second. I believe it was 34-31. So you're telling me each team is going to score half or
Yep.
less than half.
They learned from that last game out.
Why are you making this a defensive game? It's not a defensive game, Braden. This is going to be a shootout from Kansas City's side for sure. Who knows what Cincy's going to do? You're crazy. I'm like.
All right.
To be honest with you,
Call me crazy.
Hold up.
I think
To be honest with you, it's just.
Those crickets?
Yeah, crickets.
It's like
It's just.
wow.
I didn't really have a better sound, but it's just a bad take, Braden. It's just I'm
Hot
just,
takes for
I'm
the
just
week.
kidding. I'm just kidding with you.
And
I'm
this
just
week's
kidding.
hot take.
I'm just kidding. Okay, Ben, go.
I'm thinking I'm going to be highly optimistic about this one. I'm going for a shootout. I'm going 38-31 Chiefs. I also like
Much better
seeing
answer.
I also love seeing the Burrow Chase connection. Oh, it's
Beautiful.
just as a football fan, you can't not like it. You know, it's just like Stafford Cup. You know, you love to see things like that. It's just fun to watch because you know where it's going. It's just whether or not they stop it. But I don't think either defense is that good. I mean, shoot, they could both prove me wrong, and Wall's take could be the closest. But I'm thinking it's going to be 38-31 Chiefs. I just don't see Burrow or Mahomes really struggling in much of a sense. They're both gunslingers, and I'm really hoping they both do that this weekend. I think that'd be a great game to watch.
Yeah.
I may respond to that. Joe Burrow, he has experience in big games and wins in big games on the road. He had a big one last week that I'm not happy about.
He's never been in a moment
And
this big though, Braden.
let me back my score
rely.
up.
The Bengals rely on him.
I know, and the only reason I can pick the Bengals is if their defense shows up and holds the Chiefs to 14. That's the only way I see them winning.
So
that's
Titans?
why
You think the Titans will score more than the Chiefs against you? That's what you're saying right now. The Titans scored 16. You have the Chiefs scoring 14 points in an AFC Championship game, Braden. Do you know how crazy you sound?
I sound like a madman, but the only way the Bengals offense is gonna win is if they're not gonna put up more than 21. I say. But they're still going to win the game. Their defense knows what they have to do.
You
they have to come in.
brother.
Hey, it's all right. It's all right. The defense has to show up. And if they don't, then they're not going to win this game. But I want them to win this game, so I'm going to pick it for a low score.
Okay. I think you're going off heart a little more than head right now, but you do you, brother man.
Sometimes.
But hey, you know what? We covered this weekend, I feel like pretty good. This past weekend pretty good. And we covered these games that are coming up pretty good. So, you know what? There we go.
All right. Got some fans cheering for us.
Now we have we're gonna have to play this because
What's that? What's that for?
the Dallas Cowboys. That's what that's for.
Oh.
So as we talked about earlier, we addressed a lot of great things. Upcoming games looking like they're going to be great. Cowboys suck.
All right.
They have been mediocrity for my whole entire lifetime, it seems like. Besides maybe a couple years. Let's just start off with Dak Prescott. Ben, as a Cowboys fan, he sucks. Played terrible. Maybe he doesn't suck, but he played like he sucks during the playoffs. Just wasn't impressive. Wasn't good. Big games, doesn't show up a lot of the time. He doesn't play like a $75 million man, which is what he's getting paid. I'm tired of it. I can't either play better or be gone, you know. It's kind of, we're stuck with him now though because we paid him all this money, And I know I hear all these things about him being a great leader, but win us some games. I saw a stat the other day, Ben and Braden. It's either 6 or 7 years. Tony Romo and Dak Prescott have the same record in the postseason for their first 6 or 7 years in the league.
Yep.
Huge Tony Romo guy. Love Tony Romo to death. Will always be my quarterback. But Tony Romo didn't have these teams. Tony Romo didn't have the supporting cast that Dak has, and Dak is doing little to no with it. The defense he had this year led the league in turnovers, led the league in third down stoppage. The third down percentage for the opposing team was bad. I mean, you got Trayvon Diggs, who one play can get beat deep, the next play can go out there and make some extraordinary interception. But the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott are not where they need to be and where they should be with the team that they have. Another reason for that, besides Dak Prescott, who again is not paying like a $75 million man, but playing like a dude that should be making $750 an hour.
Wow.
Another
Hot
one that's to blame for this. Mike McCarthy. Learn how to manage time before being an NFL coach.
Talk about that last play a little bit, B.
So we decide we're going to run it up the middle. I can't really say much about that one because I feel like that was more on Kellen Moore. But we decide to run a QB draw. We decide that's going to be the last play we run because we don't understand that the ref has got to catch up and touch the ball before we snap it.
Wow. Is that on Dak or is that on coordinator?
That's, in my opinion, if I'm Dak, because if we have 2 more seconds left, we have a better shot at the end zone. Or not a better shot at the end zone. We have a shot at the end zone because we can spike the ball. We can get us with a second left because we were 1 or 2 seconds away from the ref touching it, center grabbing it, and us snapping the ball and then spiking it. We were a couple seconds away, could have done it. But Dak decided he's going to get a few extra yards. But I had more of an issue with Kellen Moore in that situation. And I want Ben to especially add on this, being a Cowboys fan. He can say whatever he wants to say about the Cowboys next, but when you have the defense trying to take away the sidelines, you have the perfect opportunity to take a shot at the end zone. The perfect opportunity to take a shot at the end zone. That was your best chance because what's going to happen next play? Let's say hypothetically he gets down, he spikes the clock. We have a second left. Every single player is going to be lined up in the end zone. We're doing like a Hail Mary throw from the 24-yard line, 25-yard line, whatever it is. Actually, it'd be the 30 if Dak would have slid a little quicker. Which, I mean, the 30 from the 45, 50, whatever yard line they were at, I mean, that is closer and that would be a lot easier. Mm-hmm. But the defense was spread out. It's perfect time to take a shot at the end zone, and we didn't do it. That's what we should have done. So I wasn't a fan of that last play. Another thing I'm not a fan of, a lot of people are high on him. I don't like Kellen Moore. I don't. I'd love to hear your take, Ben. I don't like Kellen Moore. Inconsistent. Calls good plays against bad teams. Play good teams. He doesn't call that great of plays, in my opinion. I mean, either that or just Dak is just very bad, you know. And I think it's a mixture. I know I was harsh on Dak, but I think it has a little bit to do with the plays that are being called. I mean, you cannot have 3 star receivers, and we don't even have to include Gallup into the situation. Cedric Wilson played like a stud. He played like a star receiver. He played better than Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee had 1 catch for 21 yards in the last game. That is it. We had over 12 penalties called. I can't remember if it was 14 or 15. We had 14 penalties called in that playoff game. You know what that tells me? We have a crappy head coach. Get your team ready to play. That is your job. Do your job. Stop letting us Cowboys fans who have been rooting for the team tirelessly all the time, every year, stop letting us down. The next move Even though we went 12-6, get rid of Mike McCarthy. I don't know if y'all saw the news. Hire Sean Payton.
Wow.
That's the next move for the Cowboys. That needs to be priority number one this offseason. That's my opinion, and I will add this too. A lot of people are saying Jerry Jones won't be willing to make a trade because technically Sean Payton is not coaching. He's leaving, but he's still under contract with the Saints. So we'd have to probably get him via trade from the Saints. But supposedly back in 2018 or 2019, I can't remember the year, Sean Payton, there was a deal in the works for us to trade for Sean Payton. It was basically done. For whatever reason, it fell through. But we need to revisit that again. Ben, I will leave this one up to you, Braden. You can make comments as you want to. But, Ben, what are your thoughts about our Rudy Poot Cowboys?
Yeah, I was very disappointed. That seems to be a trend at the end of every season. But Dak, I don't know what he is doing when he's throwing most of the time. I think the weapons are there. I think we have 4, including Wilson. Great options to throw the ball to. I like Schultz and Jarwin, specifically Schultz. I thought he came out of nowhere, kind of. And, I mean, dude's got hands.
Agreed.
He did great. Caught almost everything Dak always threw to him. Became a good tight end this year. Our O-line is also ranked number 1, but I'm skeptical sometimes based off like Tyron Smith is just not healthy. He's huge, but not the pass protection and run protection we've seen before. I think, just a little bit
When he's
older.
on the field, yes, but when he's off, no.
Yeah, they're older too, which is understandable. But, we have Pollard and Elliott, which is another huge topic. Elliott, I've been very disappointed in.
Underperformed for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think it might be time to give Pollard the number 1 slot. I mean, the dude is younger. He's fast. He gets very good carries too. I wouldn't mind seeing that switch, but that's just me. But yeah, Kellen Moore, I'm iffy on him because I don't know exactly, if he is calling the plays against the big teams, or if it's just Dak's execution. It's hard to tell because, I'm not there. I don't know. So, I could see that going either way. But regardless, whatever they're doing, it's not working because it's the same result every time we play a big team, we lose. Or whenever it matters most, we lose. Very frustrating. Yes, I also think the penalties thing, that I believe is a head coach problem. McCarthy needs to control his team. We were the most penalized team in the NFL this year. That's pathetic. That's just my opinion. You're professional athletes. You know the rules. Why do we have 14? Why do we average over 10 a game? Why?
Well,
Somebody's got to be the worst in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this too. Randy Gregory.
Oh, my God.
What are you doing? It's 3rd down. We get the stop that we need. We'll have plenty of time to do what we need to do. We're not even having this conversation about Dak sliding. If you don't commit that stupid play, you weren't even in the middle of tackling the guy. You legit threw an offensive lineman down for no reason. You legit wrapped around and threw him.
Which he also
For
had
what purpose?
at least 3 penalties on him because he
Yes.
jumped off sides twice.
I mean, dear Lord, to start the game in the first quarter, we were giving them easy goes at it because we would just neutral zone infraction defense, neutral zone infraction defense. Like, dear Lord, just play, settle in. That is what I'm meaning by Mike McCarthy. That shows a team not ready to play. This is not aggressive. I mean, it is aggressive penalties, but it's stupid penalties.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to guess the snap count. It's not being disciplined. It's not being smart. As a head coach, get your players, get their minds right. Get them set up. Like, understand, hey, like, you make a huge impact in the negative and the positive things that you do. Dear Lord.
Yeah. Something about the defense, though. I personally like our defense. It's a lot better than we've seen. So I'll take it. I like Diggs, but like you said, where he gets burnt, huge deep play, but then next play, and he could get a pick. That's just how it's done. And, I mean, I'll take my chances with that right now because, I mean, he's also young. You know, if he turns out to Ramsey, I wouldn't mind one bit. But only time will tell in that aspect. I think he has a lot of potential. But I like the D-line a lot. They're very young. We have a young D-line for the most part. They look good. Parsons, 97, the rookie. I would try to say his last name, but yeah.
Owagan, or something like that.
That's as good as I could get with that. But I like him. I like Lawrence. He's back. He's playing well. I like Gregory when he is smart. But I like our linebackers. I love Van Der Esch. But to me, one of our huge weak spots is Mr. 30, Anthony Brown. Too many PIs this year, man. Too many times you've been beat. Not a fan. I know you had a pick against the 49ers that set us up at the end or, like, help us lead to the comeback. I don't care.
Good play, but
Yeah. He's been burnt too many times this year. The Bucs game early on, the Raiders game with 4 PIs.
How old is he?
Not sure.
He's in his probably
20-something.
5th or 6th year.
Mm-hmm. Just not a fan.
I don't know how to feel about Brown because Brown was the second cornerback, and I thought there were moments he played very well. I thought there were moments during the game he played very well. I mean, same thing with kind of harping into Trayvon Diggs. I mean, the problem with harping on Trayvon Diggs is there's a lot of good as well as the bad. You know, there's good in the fact that he takes the risks and sometimes they pay off, but in the bad moments, it's bad. You know, he gets burnt deep. The dude led the league in most yards allowed by a cornerback. I mean, it's just I just want consistency. And offensively and defensively, there's no consistency, man. There's no consistency. There's just not, you know? I mean, one week we'll show up, we'll kill the Redskins, and next week we'll come out and we'll lose to the Denver Broncos and make a laughingstock of ourselves.
Washington football team.
It's just whatever. Oh, dear Lord.
I want to go back to the Pollard crop top crusader conversation because, I'm looking at stats now, and we're seeing Pollard he's averaging 5.5 yards per carry, where Zeke's averaging 4.2. Pollard has 719 carries. Or no, he has 130 carries for 719 yards, while Zeke has 237 for just over 1,000. So Pollard's getting more production. He's also doing outstanding at return. He's, like we said, his speed is unmatched on that team, I think. And I think you're right. I think we'd like to see just as I'm not a Cowboys fan, but just looking on the outside, I think the Cowboys could do a lot more with Pollard. I think the coordinator needs to take that into mind. Just looking at his stats and what he's already done, he's proven himself for sure as a one even. I think and maybe use Zeke in the red zone and use Pollard between the 20s.
I will say this, and then Ben, you can give me what you already said kind of you thought about Pollard, but Zeke played on a partially torn PCL, ACL, something. I think it was ACL, MCL, something like that. Look that up for me, Braden. See what he did. We saw a healthy Ezekiel Elliott do well earlier in the year. We had 3 straight games where he rushed for 100 yards. And I love Tony Pollard. I think he's great. I think it should be 50-50. PCL. That's what I thought. Ezekiel Elliott, though, much, much better in the pass blocking. Ezekiel Elliott does the nitty-gritty things. Ezekiel Elliott's the one to hand the ball and get 4 yards instead of 1 yard, you know? I mean, Elliott is a lot of the heart and soul, in my opinion, of the Cowboys, just in the effort that he puts forth, especially this season. And I know there's been drama in the off-season sometimes with him, but the dude works hard from what I understand and what I've read and what I've seen. Make sure he's educated on the teams that he's playing. Does a very good job stepping up, taking hits, taking licks for Dak, keeping him safe. I give Zeke, and this is a Cowboys fan who's been frustrated with Zeke, I give Zeke one more year as the starting back.
I see that.
And if things go south, then cut him, trade him, whatever you want to do.
Get money out of him while you still can.
But I mean, I'm pretty sure he's at least top 3 highest paid running backs right now. So
add some more to that salary cap. You can use it on the defense.
I don't know.
It's
It's just it's hard. I don't know about y'all. I feel like I'm getting to the age when it comes to a team. I miss older players, and I think about a Cowboys team from 2016, 2015. I'm like, man, I wish I was back in those times. I don't know about y'all, but that's kind of where I'm at.
You mean for us Cowboys fans, you mean like 1980s and 1990s?
Well, no, I mean, I wanted more. I wanted more of a the team that Tony Romo had when we went to the playoffs and played Green Bay and Dez called it. That one still kind of upsets me because I feel like we were gonna go in there. I felt good about us winning the Super Bowl with that team, especially if we beat Green Bay in Lambeau when Aaron Rodgers was doing Aaron Rodgers things and Tony Romo was playing lights out. Yet everybody wants to forget that. Nobody wants to talk about the 134, I think it was, QBR rating he had in that game. But anyways, that's I don't know. I miss those times. I thought those games were more exciting. I feel like I know what I'm getting with these Cowboys now at this point in time.
What are you getting?
Mediocrity. I'm getting high expectations that fall down. They build you up early in the season, make you feel good, beat bad teams, lose to a couple bad teams. Might beat 1 or 2 good teams, but end up losing to 3 or 4 good teams embarrassingly.
Yeah.
And then when it comes playoff time, might win a couple games going in, might get your expectations up high. But
and you get brought down.
yeah, then you see them play in the playoffs, and then you see them play in the playoffs, and they just let you down completely. So
yeah. All right. Well, I think that was a good pod, guys.
Yeah.
I think we've reached a good end. Thanks for listening in.
Yeah, y'all got anything else to add before we hop off?
I think I'm good. I think that was great.
All right. Maybe we can get into some basketball next time.
All right.
You know what? Hopefully we get some listeners to this. The more listeners, the more episodes we'll put out there.
Make sure to leave a 5-star review.
For shizzle, my brizzles.
Do all that stuff. We're trying to grow this, so let's just see what happens.
Yeah, guys. Thank you to those that do tune in. This has been the 3B podcast here with Braden, and Ben. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your week/weekend. And can't wait for y'all to listen again.
Buzz you later.
Night.